Hello guys! From this video, we are starting the planning part of the training. We will go through planning your years ahead, planning your week, planning your day, and then planning the next 3 months in your actual day-to-day schedule. This is part of a free YouTube series for creating a clear vision and an organized plan for your life ahead. You can find a link with all of the training so far in the description below. Planning is the thing that gives you the opportunity to arrange what you want to do in a way that fits you and feels good to you, instead of doing things chaotically or expecting things to somehow fall into place. While that may happen sometimes, things may fall into place. In general, life is very chaotic, and if you don't put some effort to organize it, you just become part of this chaos. And that's why actually sometimes you think that only your life is so complicated and so chaotic. Planning gives you the opportunity to see that you have a choice to allocate your time where you want, instead of unconsciously reacting to everything that is happening around you and engaging in this automatic thinking that you have to do everything in your life right now in this moment. Again, as you see, without a plan, you just become part of the chaos. Another thing is that whenever our brain detects something unknown like our future, it usually just automatically fills this unknown part with fear. Fear is a consequence to lack of clarity. So if we don't create some kind of vision for this unknown, for our future, then it will be normal for us to stay in a lot of time in fear, thinking about worst case scenarios, because our brain will just try to find all of the threats around us that can happen so it can protect us. But when we have a vision and when we have a plan, then we consciously give our brain a productive direction to think about, instead of drowning in fear and automatic negative thoughts. And you know, whenever we talk about planning, one of the main questions is why we need to plan things when almost nothing goes according to our plan. And my answer is always that the plane is usually 99% of the time in a deviation from its trajectory. But in 99% of the time, the plane lands exactly where it needs to land. And it's not because the plane is going straight and only on its trajectory. It's because the pilot is constantly aligning the plane to its trajectory. It's the same with our plan. We are not planning just to have a plan that we rigidly need to follow. We are making a plan so whenever something happens that throws us off our plan, we have something to align to. If we don't have a clear plan, the moment something happens that distracts us and throws us off from our plan, again, life is really chaotic, you will just go with whatever is happening, and you will wake up after 1 month or after 1 year or even after 10 years, and you will realize that this was not the way you wanted to go. But if you had a plan, you would naturally see a lot more sooner that you are out of alignment, out of your plan. So we don't plan to hold on to our plan and to want everything to happen according to our plan. We plan in order to have something to align to whenever we get lost, whenever life gets busy, whenever life gets chaotic, whenever distraction presents themselves. In these terms, planning is just a tool for creating clarity instead of staying for too long in confusion, chaos, fear, or paths that are not really aligned with what we want. We can't erase all of this. We can't erase the confusion, we can't erase the chaos, we can't erase the fear or the moments that we think we need to go somewhere else. But we can make sure that we don't stay there too long. We don't waste too much time in those things. And we do that by having a plan based on what we consciously want and aligning to this plan over and over again. So that's why planning is one of the most important things. And as you know, people say if you don't have a plan, you plan to fail. As I shared here, we will go through planning our years with all of the months, planning our week, then planning our day, and then a little bit more specific planning about our day-to-day schedule. So now I will show you the structure for the planning in the Excel spreadsheet and also in the software, and then I will give you some directions and steps how to fill it, and then of course whenever you have time you can do it on your own. If you haven't choose a tool to create and work on your clear vision, there is a link in the description below with the 3 options that I'm giving for this training. Okay, so this is how it looks like in the Excel spreadsheet. On the right side, there are all areas of life that we were talking about last time. Here is the division for each month. And in this part, we will talk about priorities and maintenance mode areas. And this is how it looks like in the Alive software. In this part are all of the areas of our life. And here I wrote an example that we will go through in a little bit. Here are each month that we will divide our goals. And in this part is again our priority and maintenance mode areas. The first step is, and by the way, now I will say this is the first step, this is the second or third. You don't have to follow the exact order of those steps. The end goal is to fill this form. And when you watch the training, if you want to do it in a different order, you can do it. I would just, for this training, say this is the first step or the second, but you can do it in any order that you want. And by the way, when you click this button here, you hide the left menu so you have a little bit more space to work on the tab that you're working. So the first step is to move all of the goals that you wrote in the vision part here last time that you decide that you want to work on in this current year. And you put it by areas. So under each area, you go through the vision, and whenever you see a goal that you want to work on during this year, the current year, you write it down here. And as you do that, if you decide that there are goals that you want to work on the next years, you can also do that. You can take all of the years and put it in 2027, in 2028 under each area. When I started doing this training, I usually told people to do a vision for 10 years. So they divide all of their goals into 10 years so they can see in future when are they going to work on the things that they want. But the last years, things started happening a lot faster than before. So I decided actually to put only 3 years for people to fill. But when you move your goals from your vision to your years and you realize that they cannot be in 3 years, then it's better to add more years, maybe 4, maybe 5 or 10 years, whatever you decide that is best fitting your vision. So when you move all of your goals from your vision to this current year and eventually for all of the years ahead, then you go through each goal and make it a lot more specific and practical. We want our goals to be very clear. I did an example here. If you have a goal around health to improve your sleep, and if you just write improve my sleep, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't give you any clear practical information. And if you leave it that vague, you probably will not do anything. You will think about to improve your sleep, but you will not do anything because you don't have clear steps what to do. As an example for clear steps, I wrote down here, go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 a.m. Probably you know that when we are going to bed and waking up at the same hour, that is a lot more healthy for the body because it creates routine for the body, and then it's a lot more easier to stick to this. And then start my night routine at 8 p.m. Shower, wash face, brush teeth, skincare, put blue blocking glasses and read a relaxing book or listen a relaxing video or podcast. Or of course, you can write any night routine that it feels good to you. But I just wanted to show you how you make a vague goal into a really clear and specific practical goal. So the goal here is to go through each goal that you wrote down here for each area, and only for this year. You don't have to specify anything for the other years ahead, because you will go through revision of this vision and you can change your mind a lot of times. So it doesn't make sense to go through and make specific goals for the years ahead. We make it clear and more practical only for this year. You go through each goal and make it really specific. You make sure that it's nothing vague, nothing that you don't understand, because sometimes when we leave our goals too vague, we don't really realize how much time they will take from us, how much effort they will take from us. And when we make this plan more clear and more practical, then we can start to really see how this can fit in our day, in our week. This is the second step when we go through each goal that we wrote in each area, and we make it really clear and specific. The next step is to define your priority and your maintenance mode areas for the next 3 months. One of the things that I can tell you is that whenever I'm asking someone what is really important for you at the moment, and most people always say everything is important. And I started actually asking what is really, 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 really important for you. And then you can actually sense that you are starting to think what is important. Because I feel like we are living in this moment that everything feels important. There are so many people creating urgency and creating like high emotions on us in order for us to think that everything is important, and we need to give our time and energy and attention and money to each of them. Having a clear priority creates an order for your brain to know what is actually important and what is not. So you go out of this automatic thinking that everything is important and you have to do it exactly now. And I hope you start seeing how this is an automatic thought created from outside that everything is important. It takes away the freedom from you to decide what is important and what is not, how to use your time and where not to use your time, how to use your money and where not to use your money. Defining a priority have many benefits, and you will feel them with time whenever you stop jumping into everything and thinking that everything is important. But I will share some of the benefits now. So whenever you have a priority and whenever you have a maintenance area, you know exactly where to push forward and where you can let it go. Because when people say you need to push through discomfort, it doesn't mean you need to push towards all of the discomfort about anything. It usually means that you need to push towards this discomfort only in your priority area. When you don't have a clear defined priority, you will most likely think that you have to push in each area of your life all the time, and you will most probably burn out. But when you consciously define a priority, then you know very clearly where to push for this 3-month period and where you can let it go for the moment. The priority is an area where we want to push forward, when we want to do new things. We have to adjust to different situations. It takes a lot of energy, it takes a lot of attention. The maintenance areas are areas that are still important, but you already have routines that are established in these areas and you just follow them. You just maintain this area instead of pushing it forward. Yes, as a consequence of this consistency, this area may go forward for you, but it's not intentional. It's something that you just maintain for the moment. So that way you have a very clear structure in which area you are pushing forward, that you are pushing through the discomfort, you are doing new things, you focus your attention and energy there, and then there are clear areas that you just maintain, and everything else is not important. So we basically learn the skills of ignoring with pleasure. And we are ignoring with pleasure everything else, not because it's not important, but because it's not important for this 3-month period or even for this year. One of the benefits to have at least 3 years ahead planned is that you have the opportunity to put all of your goals in this 3-year period. And you can see that for each goal, you have a specific time. So you are not so much in a rush to do everything right now. That helps you relax a little bit and focus on what's really important for this period. I hope you start to recognize that this internal desire of doing everything now in the moment and that everything is important is kind of a compulsive thinking that pushes us towards being chaotic and being exhausted. And we solve that problem by just creating and defining clear priority and clear maintenance areas. Other benefit about having a priority and maintenance areas is that you make decisions a lot faster and you don't feel guilty about it instead of being stuck in decision fatigue. Because whenever you don't have a priority, everything is important, right? And whenever you have a moment when you need to decide what to do of all those important things, your brain just gets stuck because it cannot define what to do, what is the right thing to do. But if you from the beginning decide upfront what is actually important for these 3 months and what is not important and can be postponed for the next 3 months or for the next year, then you have a very clear direction what kind of decisions you need to make. Like, for example, if you decide that your priority for the next 3 months is your health, and then your maintenance modes are work, kids, and relationship. And when there is a situation that you need to finish something at work, you can very quickly decide that for these 3 months, your health is your priority. And let's say your fitness goals are priority in particular. And then you are deciding whether to go on fitness or whether to finish something at work. Then you don't have to even decide because you decided upfront that your fitness is more important than work in these 3 months. Not always, but in these 3 months. Of course, there can be situations that you need to finish this at the moment, but most of the times it's not like this. You can take a decision to stop working and go do your fitness, even though your work is not finished. And the opposite is true. If the next 3 months there is something really important in your work that you have to work on, then if you are in the same situation that you have to decide whether to go and do your fitness or whether to stay and finish your task, you know exactly what to do because upfront you decided that this is the 3 months with focus on work. So you stay and finish your work. That's how when you have a clear plan for the next 3 months, everything outside of your priority and your maintenance areas is a no. You don't have to think about it, it's a no. And everything related to your priority is a yes. So it becomes really easy to make decisions instead of being stuck in decision fatigue and thinking for too long what to do. What is the right thing to do? Because there is no right thing to do. The right thing to do is to have a plan, to have a priority and focus on this priority. And if you don't have a priority, your brain will make this internal fight about comparing which is important, which is not, and you will go into confusion. When you have that clear structure of having a clear priority, having a clear maintenance areas, and everything else doesn't matter for the next 3 months, this creates clarity, it creates calm, it creates time, it creates focus, it creates energy. And another thing is that when you have that structure for yourself, you can communicate it with other people, with your family, in work, in whatever settings you are. So other people know where is your focus. And again, life will happen. Things, people, events will come and distract you. But the most important thing is that you have something to align to. When you get distracted and when you don't have a plan and priority, you can go down into this distraction for months, for years. But when you have a clear priority and clear plan, you get distracted, you notice, and you get aligned to your priority and what is actually important for you. Again, it's not about following your plan in a rigid way. It's about having something to align to that you know it's important for you instead of getting lost in distractions or confusions or fears. So just to summarize, the idea of priority is to have one area that you are focused towards the next 3 months. Or you can, of course, define this priority for the whole year. But usually it's for the next 3 months. And when you do your revision during the 3rd month, you can decide if you want to continue working on this priority or you want to change it. And this priority is the area where you push forward, you do new things, you have discomfort moments, and then you push through them. The maintenance mode areas are usually 3 areas that are still important and that you still want to maintain during these 3 months, but they are not bringing you discomfort. They are areas that you do the minimum in order to maintain the routine that you already have. It's best to put things that are the minimum for this area so you can do it even in the worst days that you feel your lowest. Those areas are supposed to give you some comfort instead of giving you another area that you have to push through. And for those of you who still think that you cannot live life with only one priority, I know that a lot of people cannot even imagine to have just one priority, and basically that's why I have 3 options here. But you need to know that If you have more than one priority, you will have moments where those priorities get in conflict. You will probably feel like you are failing at both of them, and you need to be okay with that. So you can totally decide and place here a lot of priorities, even more than 3. But the idea is that the more priorities you have, the more confusion and the more stress you will create for yourself. And I know that for a mind that is used to think that everything is important, it's really scary to focus on just one thing. But I can assure you that with time, when you see how good it is to have a really clear direction, what is a no, what is a yes, then having a priority becomes kind of an instrument to create calm in your life. There might be moments that you must disregard your priority because something out of ordinary or something health related or something with your family is happening, but those are like a black swan events rather than constant events. In the other time, you will have a really clear decision-making direction in order for what to say yes to and what to say no to. And you will start to see how this thinking that everything is important and you have to jump on everything all the time whenever it's happening, it's actually a really reactive behavior. So to summarize this step, here you write down what is your priority for the next 3 months. And if you put more than one priority, you are prepared that you will have moments of conflict and you will continue with the more of a confusion type of making decisions rather than having a clear direction, what is a yes and what is a no for you for the next 3 months. And the maintenance mode areas are 3 areas that you still feel are important for you, but you write down the minimum for them in order to keep them moving. In the priority, you are pushing through the discomfort whenever something unpleasant comes. And for maintenance mode areas, you can let it go. You don't have to push. You have this balance of knowing when to push and knowing when to let it go and rest. Okay, so the next step is to fill each month with the things that you are going to do. First, you write down all of the important events that will happen in each month. Like if you have birthdays, important dates, time for a holiday, events that maybe will happen this year, or events that you know for sure that will happen this year. You also write down the regular revision that you have to do, and it's obviously here, but for the people who have an idea that they are working on, you can do a revision for your idea, or if you don't have idea, you can just delete it. But in the beginning, the idea is to fill in everything that you know is happening for sure this year. Then you take each goal from each area here on the right side and you place it in the month that you will be working towards this goal. And if some goal is something that you will work the whole year, you put it in each month. If some goal is you will be working just the first 3 months, you put it only in the 3 months. So it's not, sometimes people take one goal and put it just in January, although they will be working throughout the whole year. So you need to know that you will be allocating time and effort and energy for each goal in each month that you will be actually working towards this goal. And if some goal from here is something that you will work on weekly or daily, it's better actually to put it in amazing week or amazing day, the planning that we will be going through the next trainings. And in the area for month, you just write down the overall goal. Like for example, if you are working on your health, just January, February, and March, you write down here just health. You don't write all of this explanation. All of this explanation, because this is something that you will do daily, you can just copy it and then put it in the amazing day, like quality sleep. You can write it down here so you know exactly what to do, but at the same time, in this more overall area, you put just health here. So the idea is in this part to have more overall description, and then if you have something more practical in a weekly or daily sense, then you put it in amazing week or amazing day, the trainings that we'll be going through the next 2 times. That way, in this area, you keep it a little bit more clear instead of putting all of the small descriptions and it becomes too overcrowded. The next step is when you already move all of your goals, each goal in each month and each period that you will be working towards this goal, then you just review your months and you kind of see if you feel good about it. Because what happens is most of the people, when they put all of the things in each month, they realize that they don't have enough time to do whatever they wanted and they were thinking that they will be doing in each month. So the idea is to go through each month and just be really honest with yourself, how you feel about it. Do you feel that you can actually do all of the things that you plan for yourself, or you feel overwhelmed? You feel like it's too much and it just feels heavy. This is the place where you actually start to rearrange things and make it a lot more breathable. Maybe you need to just move one goal to another month or to next year also, or maybe you realize that something is not that important to you and you can totally delete it. For some other goals, you can decide that you don't want to let them go, but you can delegate them or you can automate them. Another thing that I really recommend is to leave space in your year in order to have some spare time for unexpected things, or if something takes a lot more time than you expected. Because one of the biggest disappointments that happens with planning is that you make a plan, but something unexpected happens and then it throws your plan totally off the rail. And for me personally, that's not an issue about the exact plan. It's about not taking into consideration how to plan things and to leave a spare time for unexpected things. So for example, if you have kids and you know that during January they get sick a lot and you have to spend a lot of time going to hospitals, taking care of them and so on, it's better to take that into consideration and leave a lot more time during January instead of planning for yourself a lot of other things and then your kids get sick and then you get disappointed and then you think that nothing goes to plan. But even if you don't have that kind of periods, you still kind of need to have spare time for unexpected things. You can have unexpected health situation, or as I said, something might take a lot longer time than you expected. So these are things that need to be taken into consideration instead of not leaving any free time and then get disappointed. And in the case that nothing unexpected happen or everything takes exactly the time you plan, then you will have a free time to start working on something that's important for you a lot sooner. So after you rearrange your goals for each month, again, look at them, look at your vision for the year in each month and see if you feel good about it or there is something again that feels off, that feels overwhelming, that doesn't feel good. Try to define what exactly it is that doesn't feel good and try to find a way to adjust it in a way that actually will feel good for you. Taking into consideration to have spare time for unexpected things. And you do that revision over and over again till you see this monthly plan and you feel good about it. You feel inspired to take action instead of feeling overwhelmed or instead of wondering, will I be able to do that? Having this month-to-month planning is really good when you do it because you can see really clearly when exactly you will work on a specific goal. And then again, this helps a lot for our reactivity because our brain already have a clear vision when exactly you will work on something. So you are not in this reactive thinking, I have to do everything now. Whenever you're working on something and some idea comes that you have, you know, oh, I'm working on this in July. And then you can let go this thought instead of this thought becoming really dominant that I need to work on this idea now. Having a plan really helps you become more calm and more organized. And this gives your brain an opportunity to focus on a specific goal in a specific time. And again, if something happened, you can always change your plan. The idea is not that we are doing this planning to rigidly hold on to it, but we are doing a plan so we know what's really important for us and to align ourselves every time that something distracts us and we need to focus on what's important again. These two here, the Excel spreadsheet and also the software help us to take everything that we have in our mind and then put it into a form, in a structure, in order for us to really see it and be able to organize it in a way that feels good to us, in a way that fits our personality, in a way that our time will be well spent. It helps us to start using our time with intention instead of reacting to everything or hoping that things will just happen somehow. So we consciously focus our time on things that we decide are important for us. Planning is one of the things that really help us get out of the reactivity because it helps us create structure and focus on the things that really matter. With time, you will notice how you become a lot more confident and what is no, what is a yes for you, what is your priority, what is not your priority. And you will notice how all of this reactive thinking that everything is important will go down. And the best part is that each time you do a revision of your vision, which we do every 3 months, you will have a chance to remind that to yourself. And that way you become a lot less reactive each time you do every revision. Because you already know it's one thing to learn something in just one couple of minutes in a video, and another thing that we remind ourselves again and again every 3 months. All of these reminders help us to define more and more clearly what is important for us and help us focus on that and say no to everything else. Okay, so now you can take your time and start planning your year. You can follow my steps or you can do it in a different order. The end goal is to have the form for your year filled and to feel really clear and inspired to take action. That's about it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, write them down below and I will be happy to answer them. You can find a link with all of the training so far from this series for creating a clear vision and an organized plan in the description below. If you want to receive these trainings in your inbox, you can sign up for my email list. Link in the description below. Subscribe, like this video, and leave a comment, even if it's just your favorite emoji, because that way you are helping with the YouTube algorithm. I'll see you in the next video.